Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape. In this video, I am finishing out my conversation with Kyle from Bolton Ebikes. If you missed any of the earlier ones and you want to hear more of what Kyle has to say, I will have them all listed in the description below. And in this video, Kyle talks about Bolton Labs, which is relatively new, came out towards the end of 2020. And he talks about some of the things that he's looking to do to innovate in the e-bike industry. He also shares his thoughts on US e-bike manufacturing. If you aren't already aware, all of these electric bikes are coming from overseas, usually China, and so a lot of the operations from these companies here in the US are just the operations and support staff, R&D, and those sort of things, and then they work with their team overseas to get these electric bikes to the United States. And there is one company that I think is worth mentioning because they do try to do a lot more in the US, and that is Electric Bike Company. Their bikes are assembled here in the US, and they also do custom paint and some really interesting things in the electric bike industry. So be sure to check them out if you're interested. With that, I hope you enjoy this conversation with Kyle from Bolton Ebikes. If you do like this video, please give it a like and let me know in the comments if there are other guests you'd like me to bring on. I'm definitely looking to do more interview videos in the future. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next video. I want to talk about Bolton Labs. I feel like you announced that November, maybe end of October or something like that. So maybe you can tell us what kind of your idea, how'd you come up with this? I think it's fascinating and something that no one else is doing. And by the way, I feel like you're maybe the most out front in front of the public owner of an electric bike company that I know. So props to you, and I love that you're innovating here and sharing it with us all, because I think we can all benefit from it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So YouTube has this thing called a membership, all right? And like we talked about before, that's how most people find me, is on YouTube. And I saw this membership thing. I see people use it for exclusive videos or different things. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, should we use that in some way? And I was like, I don't want to make people pay a monthly fee for a membership thing just to watch videos. I don't know. I went back and forth on it for a while. And then on the podcasts, kind of this idea started to formulate as I was interviewing customers of mine, or potential customers even, who had ordered bikes from me or were talking about upgrades or maybe DIY bikes that they'd done. And it was actually a customer on one of those podcast episodes who threw out the idea or the name Bolton Labs. And for some reason that just stuck with me. I was like, I like that idea. There's Bolton Ebikes, where we sell products, but then there's this other side of me that's like trying to make all this new stuff. And trying to make things while you're running an e-bike company, which I guess I'm doing either way, can be a little bit hard to manage. But I just liked the idea that he had put a name to it and more of a purpose to it, that there should be something that's dedicated to developing new products. And I was trying to figure out, how do I get people involved in some way in this? But we can't just, and I don't want to say I didn't want to just open it up to everyone, but in a way I didn't. And the reason for that is some people are really into electric bikes and they understand them, they ride them, they know what they want. And then there are others that are still learning and trying to figure things out. So how do we weed out effectively the noise from basically the meaningful conversations and progress? And I'm not trying to say that to be mean or say that somebody's new to e-bikes doesn't know anything, because that's not true at all. Somebody who's brand new to e-bikes may have a new idea that no one else thought of because we're too busy with all the stuff that's already been done. But I felt like Bolton Labs, by making it a membership program on YouTube where people can join, and then we can kind of work back and forth with new ideas on new products, and have some feedback. Maybe we send out beta components, test components to this smaller group. We kind of figure out the problems, and we just, in the end, make e-bikes or e-bike products better for everyone. That would be a good thing. So Bolton Labs is still new. I'm still figuring out how to make it work properly, especially within the constraints of YouTube. And some people are probably asking, why didn't you do, a Patreon or some other membership platform to do this? And honestly, the reason is I'm just swamped with everything that's going on and busy. And I didn't want to start up some other platform that I'm not familiar with to try and make something like this group membership to happen.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm already on YouTube. I know YouTube. And I feel confident that YouTube will continue to improve the member side of things so it gets better over time. So let's start it there and let's grow with it and let's try and make it happen. And basically, I just finished filming another video right before this to release tomorrow to the members, giving them kind of a sneak peek at some of the things that are going on here, some of the changes we're making, and pitching like the next two ideas. Basically, they're like, hey, we have this product or idea that's never been done for e-bikes, and we've got this other idea that's never been done. Which one should we make next? And we're going to make a series of videos and comments back and forth and try and figure out how do we make this product the right way. So instead of it being just me coming up with a product and hoping that I did it right, there's kind of a collective group of people that are working on it together. And I try to make that membership as valuable as possible. So the first thing we did was a freewheel tool to remove freewheels on Bafang motors because one didn't exist for some reason. I'm like, why doesn't this exist already? Why hasn't the manufacturer of the motor or the freewheel made one of these? Neither of them had. And through some feedback and expertise from different people and emails, we were able to make something. And now, a month or two later, we have a physical product that people can buy and use. And I gave, of course, a discount to the members so they can get a deal on it because they really helped bring that product to life. And I'm hoping it just grows from there. And as the group grows, I'm hoping we do some live YouTube videos that are more interactive. And I have some other ideas that are forthcoming. But basically, the whole idea is Bolton Labs is becoming its own separate entity where e-bikes can be developed and progressed, as opposed to Bolton Ebikes where, we're educational, maybe I'm informing people, we're selling stuff, but there's Bolton Labs where all it's doing is being dedicated to developing new products for electric bikes. Because to my knowledge, a company, a business, a group, anything like that doesn't really exist. There's forums and there's things online, and those are great. Yeah. But a really dedicated facility that's working on that, I don't think that exists yet, but it should.
Yeah, and I do want to hone in on, the freewheel removal tool, just so if people don't own an e-bike or know what you're talking about. So basically, coming out of the motor, you have the connector and then some nuts from depending on the motor, and there's no way that any of the existing tools can make it through that. And so you design something custom, and that's a big deal because previously people were cutting them in half and trying to finagle. Otherwise, with all these people buying electric bikes, especially this year, they're going to need maintenance, and right. That might be down the line, but bike shops, everyone's going to need this type of tool or other products that you develop in order to maintain your bike. So for some people, they may see that tool as not a big deal, but I thought it was a pretty significant first product, and I was glad to see it. And of course, helps all of us owners better, maintain our bikes. So
yeah, because I tell everybody, like, if they buy a bike from me in 5 years from now, I hope that bike is still in top shape and running and serviceable, and it's something they can keep for a long time. And sometimes that means we got to develop some new tools or things to make that happen. So
Yeah.
that's definitely how that came about.
Yep. And being a member does not preclude you from buying this tool, by the way. You know,
No, not at all.
I don't know if it's still for sale or you sold out, but you can check those out at his website. That's all the topics that I think we're getting near to time, but those are topics that I wanted to cover. Anything that I missed that you kind of want to share?
There's so many different things. I'll throw this little tidbit out there since we kind of left off talking about Bolton Labs, is that my hope, or one of the things I've been looking into a lot, is we have a few issues here with 2020 and demand for e-bikes and production problems overseas. There's these long lead times, and I would love to be completely independent of all of those lead times, and we can just say, oh, we didn't buy any components from overseas, we just made the bike here. I don't think I'll ever have a facility where we just make made in the USA bikes, because I think they would probably be more expensive by a substantial margin. And there might be some compromises that have to be made early on to make that even possible in the first place. And I will say right now, you cannot build an electric bike in the United States completely, 100%. Some of the components do not exist. Nobody makes derailleurs, for example, or shifters in the United States anymore. It doesn't matter how bad you want to buy one, you can't. Same goes for like tires. And I'm hoping we can bring some of those things here. So when we have a problem like this year, where maybe tens of thousands of bikes are delayed because a certain component is available, we have another solution. And I'm hoping Bolton Labs can help provide some of those solutions over the coming months or years. And it's going to be a challenge. But if somebody can figure that out, I think that's going to be really awesome to have a bike, or even just certain components made in the US and available. So like I said, I will probably always have bikes that are made in China, because they can be built to a very good quality level at a good price point. And I don't know if we can compete with that. But I'd love to see more US manufacturing and more development. So I guess I'm taking that to say, to sum all that up in a short 1 or 2 sentences, I'm hoping that 2020 and COVID and the bike shortage and e-bike pandemic, whatever you want to call it, makes us innovate and come out with some new products faster than we've ever seen before for electric bikes. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to do my best to see that it does.
Yeah, that's a great note to end on. Thanks, Kyle, so much for your time. You can check out Bolton Ebikes, boltonebikes.com. Search him on YouTube. He obviously has the podcast link there as well. Tons of content. If you're looking to buy an electric bike, I think it is a fantastic place to start. So thanks so much, Kyle.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.